Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marta Pastuch, and I represent the Secretariat for the German Platform for the Reconstruction of Ukraine. And I'm very pleased to welcome you to today's exchange on agriculture. This event has been organized together with our distinguished partner, Build Ukraine Back Better platform, and now hand over to Anna Ackermann, who will be moderating the discussion. Please, Anna.
Thank you very much, Marta. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for your interest and for joining today. I'm sure there will be more people joining throughout. I'm Anna Ackermann, coordinator of the Build Ukraine Back Better platform that unites civil society organizations across Ukraine and Europe working on sustainable and resilient recovery and reconstruction of Ukraine. This is our second webinar in a series that we are organizing together with the German Platform for Reconstruction of Ukraine. And each webinar is dedicated to one of six sectors of the Sustainable Recovery Roadmap of Ukraine that was launched last year by the organizations of our platform. And this roadmap as such and the approach aims to identify key policies, reforms, changes which are needed to prepare for a more sustainable recovery in the six sectors. Our first webinar was on environmental priorities during war and recovery. And just like this event, it will be available online on the website of the German Platform for Reconstruction. I also would like to invite you straight away for the upcoming webinar on May 27th that we'll dedicate to the discussions about energy sector. Of course, in such a short time for all of these events, we cannot cover all of the questions for all of the sectors. Our focus is sustainability and sustainable recovery, and we are trying to uncover with our fantastic speakers what it means. Please, from the very, very beginning, I would like to invite you to be asking your questions to the speakers in the chat. Feel free to do it throughout the whole event. We probably would not have a lot of time because of just the limited time for this event in the end for a free microphone, but I'll be all the time checking the chat and collecting your questions from the chat. And of course, we'll have a dedicated Q&A session in the end. We can also perhaps have the slide that shows who is here with us today. You can see that these are the people who have registered for this event, and so not everybody's here yet, but everybody would receive the recording of the webinar for sure. We have a big interest from the private sector. Almost 1/3 of the people who registered are from private sector. And also many other organizations who are working probably on agriculture, doing research on agriculture. And again, this is an invitation for you to share not just questions perhaps, but also your expectations from this event. And it would be interesting to know why you have joined, and feel free to also present yourself in the chat. That is also a wonderful opportunity to get to know what others are doing. The agenda, there's our agenda briefly. We are starting by a very short introduction. There will be a short presentation, also as an intro on sustainable recovery of Ukraine's agriculture. We'll have then a panel discussion and then the Q&A session. But as I mentioned, Q&A is kind of also something that will happen throughout the event. On this, I would like to give you a very brief, well, it's rather a foreword rather than a big intro to the topic, because it will be Katerina who will be giving the presentation. But of course, just to explain once more why we are talking about the sector of agriculture. We clearly see that Ukraine's path to a European Union is unprecedented because no country has ever move towards the EU membership while fighting a full-scale war. And even though there is all of these challenges, this transformation is not only continuing, it's also accelerating throughout the years. Also something exceptional. And of course, the agriculture sector sits at the very heart of this process. It's a key sector for Ukraine's economic resilience. That supports all of a lot of export revenues and financial stability of the country. And it is also one of these very critical sectors for the EU integration. This is why I'm sure today we will be mentioning a lot the questions related to the EU integration. But worth maybe saying that, for Ukraine, and hopefully for all of us, the EU integration of the country is not just about ticking boxes. It's this deep transformation for the future. So for our sustainability, for security, common security, and of course for recovery. And worth saying that Ukrainian agriculture is already a part of the European market for quite a while. It is diversified, it is very much rooted in our rural territories, and quite complementary to the EU economy, and this is what we'll cover also today. So today's discussion will be exactly about this, how this transformation can work for Ukraine and for Europe as a whole. And with this, I would like now to give the floor to Katerina Shor, who is the project manager of the Information Center Green Dossier. And she will talk about what actually we are talking when we're saying sustainable recovery of agriculture. What do we actually mean? And which role agriculture plays here in the sustainable transformation, and of course, in Ukraine's EU integration. Katerina, the floor is yours.
Yes, hello, colleagues and dear participants. I'm very glad to be here and explain a bit about the state of agricultural sector of Ukraine. I'm pretty sure that my colleagues will add much more after me also. As Anna said, definitely agricultural sector is a very important one for Ukraine, not only for recovery, but in economical perspectives. And that's one of the most discussable questions within the EU integration process so far. As we see, there are really a lot of discussions. And we need to admit that agricultural sector is currently developing in Ukraine under really in very challenging conditions, under pressure of the full-scale invasion and also climate change and other aspects. Next slide. Just to give you a short overview about the sector, before the full-scale invasion, we had over 40 million of hectare agricultural land. And for now, as a result of the full-scale invasion, there are different estimations. About 8 million of hectares mined or occupied remain available for use. And also there are different estimations about the land which are considered degraded, which was also before the invasion due to different climate reasons as well. So for now, I just found the figures that there is estimations that about 25% of agricultural land are degraded and because of those reasons. And important issue is also to understand who is maintains this land, because we hear a lot of talks around that there are large holdings who are deal and work on this land, and that's quite not really as it is, because we have a very diversity market. There are also medium and small size and very small micro producers who are working on this land. to say about large holdings, they cultivate like less than 1/4 of the agricultural land, while small and mediums play a crucial role as a backbone of rural economies and food security. This structure is quite complex, sure, but that's also we see as a benefit for Ukraine as well, because we are working with different scale farmers. For EU integration, we see also as kind of a driver for changes in agricultural sector of Ukraine. Ukraine has started to work on alignment of EU legislation in agricultural sphere as well as environmental sphere. It is important that there were a number of steps already done in field of institutional development. They already adopted agriculture and rural development strategy and legislation which set up a payment agency already in place, and further legislation is under development. Still, we understand pretty well that there are quite a lot work to be done. But here I would like to stress actually that agriculture sector is closely linked as well with environmental policy, and we see this importance of integration while looking at the national plan for EU integration, which was adopted recently by our government. There are quite a big number of cross-sectoral issues, and the chapter linked to environment, it directly shapes how agriculture will operate. So here it is a cross-sectoral dialogue important to be set up in Ukraine to avoid the fragmentation and to find solutions for both sectors for agriculture and environment. For the moment, we see that this is still like a parallel processes, not too much integrated, and that's where we try to bring both sectors together for different dialogue and discussions of the issues. Next one. So we see that there are number of pressures for agricultural sector, like full-scale invasion and land degradation, climate change, and reforms which should be done by Ukrainian side, and also the food system transformation, which started actually much earlier, even before the COVID times. And that's all bring us to kind of precondition of the systemic changes which we see that should be done in Ukrainian agriculture. This also creates some opportunities to rethink, rebuild, recover, whatever, transform our agricultural sector towards more sustainable practices and solutions. And I think that we have now the exact moment, unique moment, where we could think about how to make this path more sustainable and respectful for nature and more profitable for our producers. That's from my side for the beginning.
Thank you so much, Katarina. I just thought, the first webinar actually on environment, we talked a lot, of course, about the now the Ministry of Environment that was brought together to work with the Ministry of Economy. And so I'm wondering how do you see this link? So is this also an opportunity? And of course, the Ministry of Agriculture too. So now this is all one ministry: economy, agriculture, and environment. Could this work out for the better? Because you mentioned the need of coordination. So how did you see this change? Did it affect positively, negatively, or didn't affect at all these things that you just talked about?
Good question. There are a number of pro and contra, I would say. The main thing for the moment that the structure of the ministry is not yet finally set up. And there are still some processes, internal processes within the ministry. We don't know all the relevant, all the key persons responsible for all the issues. We'll activate in Green Dossier. Personally, I would say about my organization, we will activate now, reactivate communication with the ministry, because we have started recently the new project, continuing the work we are doing in cross-sectoral issues. Hopefully it will help, but there are some definitely contradictory things which could not be done by the same person, staying from two sides of the coin, would say. So when we are talking about protecting the nature and then land use by farmers, there are two still contradictory things where we need to find a solution to do it in a proper way.
Right, thank you. We were trying to see, and we actually had many different opinions on this. Try to agree that it is still an opportunity that should be somehow. We would have to try to utilize it, right, and see what
Yes,
comes out of it.
Yes, I would say still that it is an opportunity to have all decisions to be taken in one ministry. So, like in this case, there are less negotiations, intergovernmental negotiations. Hopefully, this will work. We'll see further.
Yeah, indeed. And thank you once more.